Hi, my name is Dave Helmuth, and I have a business called AdLib Music. Basically what we do is we support leaders and we train musicians and we work with churches. What we do is we eradicate isolation and burnout so that leaders bear much fruit. And that means that we come a lot of times on site and have either like guest lead worship or mentor the worship leaders, or work with the worship bands, help them rehearse well. We do coaching for leadership teams, or we would lead retreats. Sometimes we have kind of several month in-depth coaching programs where we're meeting with people, we're talking, and we're getting into the nitty-gritty of what they're doing. And so we do lots of different things, and I love it. Kind of how it all got started is I've been on staff and as a volunteer worship leader since 1990, and which seems like forever ago because it was. And I was kind of thrust into the leadership role. I just graduated high school and I was like, all right. So there's a small church, not a whole lot of pressure, but I jumped in, and it was like the 5 of us leading worship. And it was awesome, but it was also really hard, and I had to learn everything on my own, and try to go to seminars and try to I didn't have anybody walking with me. And I got on staff at a couple different churches, different sizes, and had lots of different experiences and had mentors along the way, but just didn't have anybody who was really in the worship zone, who really knew what it was like to be me and to be in my role. And so as I was going along, it was about 2002 when I started thinking, I'm kind of getting done with being the guy that leads worship every week. And I really would like to branch out and to help people who are doing the worship every week. So most people would settle down at one church and kind of just be focused there and give there. And that's great. But my calling is different than that. I get something from one church, an idea, or a connection, whatever, and I take it to the next church, and I just kind of spread that all around. So I started thinking, well, how can I do that? How can I make a living at doing that? And I kind of borrowed some of the ideas from business coaching, and I had some outside help. I had a coach myself. In 2002 is when I actually started. I got my fictitious name, and I did all the business setup things, started an account, all the basic things that you do to start up a business. But I did a few things here and there for a number of years, and kind of it was on the shelf, so it was kind of incubating little by little. And I got married in 2005 and wanted to launch in then, but my wife was smarter than I was, and she was like, I don't think it's a good time. So, and thankfully I listened to her, so that makes me smart too. But then, we got a couple of years after that, I was just working some different jobs and trying some things out, but nothing was really happening with the business piece. And I was like, well, I'm not sure what's going to happen. And so it was a little bit disappointing, but we just kind of kept on going and kept on, I took a job as a loan processor and learned a ton of stuff about finances that was really helpful for me. I took a job at Starbucks because I knew that their training thing is really intense and it's supposed to be great, and so I wanted to see that kind of firsthand, and so I did that for a year. And when my Starbucks closed, it was one of the stores that closed. Cool thing is that I actually got I actually was able to get unemployment because my store closed. So I had some cushion for I think it was a whole year that I had, to have some income along with what I was starting to do. So at first I did odd jobs to help myself cash flow it. I did construction, whatever it took. I did some of that. And then because I've always been the kind of person that connects with people, that wants to build relationships and build connection with people. I just started talking with those people that I knew already, and would do things here and there. I had no idea. I was just starting off, and so I just started small, and I tried to do things that I knew that people would need, that churches would need, that would really help them. Probably the biggest thing that I learned that was the most helpful was having a coach, having a business coach. For me, when you're providing a service and doing something and people are paying you for that, there's so many things in your head that you sabotage yourself all the time because you believe crap. And so my coach really helped me see some things and helped me because he was a lot more confident than I was, and he really helped me see, what the truth was about stuff, and helped me come to a place where I formulated my own beliefs about that. So that was one of the biggest things that really helped me. Almost 4 years ago, in 2008, I got launched, and we just kind of dove in full time and went with that, and started coaching and started working with churches. And I felt like the first year was kind of like the pre-launch, getting ready piece. I wasn't really like, I was doing it, but it was still kind of like, you know. And the next year was more about like expanding that. The next year after that was kind of like the partnership thing, where I'd bring some other people into it, and they would help me out, and I would bring, you know, pastors in that I had maybe coached at one point to come into another meeting with another person that I was coaching, and you know, we could kind of do some things together. So that was the partnership thing, and so it's been cool to kind of see it built from there. But it definitely started at a real small but just intentional place. I feel like I am built to encourage and to improve and to connect people, and so where AdLib is going, you know, 10 years ago, I actually had a plan that included, you know, when AdLib would launch into like South America, when it would go to Europe, and when AdLib Asia would launch. You know, I had all these like, and now I'm like, I wanna figure out. I feel like I've worked several years doing what I'm doing, and I want to figure out what does it look like to hand some of this off, and to work in a more, I mean, I've always been kind of like the leader of leaders role for a lot of years. So what would it look like for me to have coaches that are doing what I'm doing on like the day-to-day thing, but that I'm just kind of leading that, so that I can keep doing other things still like what AdLib is about. You know, whatever it is that helps encourage people, keep them from burning out, and help them to bear fruit. That's what we'll be about. So I don't know exactly, but probably the one thing that I do know is that it'll keep changing, and because I have a little bit of attention deficit. And look, there's a bird.